Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the British Cycling Southwest Series 2, and joined by you here by Moti again. Hi Moti.
Good evening, Liam. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you. Not too bad. And
Good.
Mr. Kirby is not. He's still on furlough. So we're back for Series 2, Moti. We're back for Series 2.
Excellent season 2. It's like we're being recommissioned by Netflix, isn't it?
Absolutely. And let's start right from the off. So it looks like we've got people on a load of time trial bikes. So Moti, where are we today?
Today we are in the beautiful city of Bologna, which is in the northwest of Italy, and this is a gorgeous place to be, but apparently not the moment with the lockdown. And this is a perfect GPS replica of the TT course used in the 2019 Giro d'Italia. It was the Prelude race that was won by Primož Roglic, and the winner of the Tour of Italia that year was Richard Carapaz, and he was absolutely nowhere in sight in this race in the top 10. So, it just shows that this doesn't always breed the winner. So the course is a GPS exact replica of this real life course. And last year, they actually filmed them both together, so you can see the GPS of the Zwift as well as the real life roads on the same TV, which was fascinating. So it's an interesting course. So the first 6 kilometers of this course is completely pan flat, so we should see big groups forming and rattling along, and then you suddenly turn in more or less a hairpin burned and smash up the climb for the last couple of kilometers. So it's 8 kilometers all in total. The first 6 is flat, the last 2 is basically raw uphill, and we can see that red zone where it gets up to 16.2%, with an average overall across the whole course of about 2.4%. The best time up here in real life was 12:54 by Roglic and the TT, but in Zwift, only last week somebody set an 11:56, but I'm a bit suspect that's a really legitimate time. Most people seem to be coming around about the 12.5-minute course. So this is a great course as a TT, and it's absolutely brutal. The first bit you can smash it along the flat, and then you turn the climb and you go up the hill. I wonder if anybody's going to change bikes as some of the pros did last year, but I suspect most people will keep on this TT bike all the way up to the top, but that's going to really give them a big weight penalty climbing up. So maybe people are trying to create some time in this flat bit before going up the hill.
Absolutely. So as Moti says, out here, race 1 today of the new series of 5 race series, and we're starting with an isolated time trial here in Bologna. 2 laps. So we're going to go along the flat, up the climb, back down, all the way to the start, around the roundabout, back up and finish with an uphill finish. Now, as you can see, all the riders are choosing their bikes we've got a group of time trial bikes here. There is no draft on today's race, so absolutely no draft benefit at all. So we may see pockets of riders, so we can see a group of 4 here and another group of 4 in the back, and as we turn around we can see there's a much larger string of riders behind, but there's absolutely no draft benefit at all. So these riders will be riding like this, but they won't be getting any draft. They'll just be a mental sort of thing as a marker man and NBC. So it'd be great today to see people's tactics. Are they just going to ride up their usual power wattage, what they'd ride racing outside? And it'd be great to see. So things that will make change to normal time trials. There's going to be little CDA value involved in today's race, like there would be on a real time trial outside, etc. But we do have a little bit of CDA values in game. So you can see these guys have chosen the time trial bikes. And there are differences of speed values between the different bikes on Swift. So you can see we've got a load of S-Works here, there's tri-frames, etc. Or we've got the P5 of the Cervelo, would be my choice, matey. But these could be purchased in-game via drops. And drops is the in-game currency, and they are accumulated by the effort put in throughout the game. So it'd be interesting to see what we've got here today, Moti.
It will be, yeah, and I completely agree with this Cervelo P5X. It's a sexy-looking TT bike, isn't it? Without a seat post on it, it just floats in air, and it's a beautiful thing. Particularly, you mix it with the disc wheel of the Zip 909s or the Zip 9s. A beautiful, beautiful bike. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the actual do, and it's really interesting how it's already starting to spread out. So we've got riders who are really smashing up this first bit, and I wonder if these are the excited riders looking forward to hitting that climb for the first time. But I'm fairly sure that these front runners who are up there now will suffer up the second climb.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see who's gone out too fast too early, because like I say, there is no draft benefit, so we are going to see people flying back. But we'll try and keep a good eye on the standings and whatnot, and we have today got it open, so the rest of the series will be closed category, meaning that only if you're in an A category you won't see any other categories. But because it's a no draft benefit today, and we want to be all inclusive, so you can see everyone out here on course. Now if you want to follow with us, you can watch on Swift Power at all the standings, and if you want to get involved, send a message either on Facebook, YouTube or Twitch.
I think what we'll see today is, because there's no draft, but unlike a normal TT time trial where you've got a couple of minutes gap between your minute, or sometimes a minute between your minute man, you can actually see who's ahead of you now. So I think we are going to see riders doing a little bit of chasing, using the rider in front as a pace, and I would not be surprised if we see some riders who maybe push themselves a bit hard, getting some FTP increases after today.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it looks like we're just going to be approaching this climb for the first time, Moti. Let's just have a look at a team sheet whilst we're here. Look at all those teams, Moti. All the teams on the screen. Great to see such a representation from the Southwest for this series too. A lot more people have got on board. We've got Somerset RC Tri Club, Swindon Wheelers, Torvello, Devon and Cornwall Police, Team Type 1 Diabetes, Torbay Racing, Team Tour 2000, Tri UK, Tavistock Wheelers, Vision Pro Cycling, Vitus Pro Cycling, Velo Walcott, Warvina, Wadebridge Coasters, Widges, Wheel Velocity, Yeovil, Yogi, Exeter Wheelers, just to name a few. I could keep on going, Moti, but we're here to watch the racing.
Well, the representation is fantastic, and it's so good to see so many teams, and a lot of the teams have got more than one rider in as well. We saw last season how Tour 2000 was stacking the field with their riders, but we're seeing many of the other teams also now putting 3, 4, 5 riders into these races, which is really, really good to see. Not quite so important today because we won't really see any team tactics. This is very much into your own mind, trying to get your mental challenges right and push yourself up that climb. But in the next 4 weeks, I'm fairly sure that we'll see some team tactics coming into play.
Yeah, absolutely. And also a big shout out for new for Series 2. We've kindly got some sponsors sponsoring the British Cycling Southwest Region Series 2. Kindly, we have prizes for first place and second, third positions in every category, Moti. So big thank you to our sponsors. We got Callis Clothing, White Lake Cheeses and Colliford Cycles in Seaton. Unfortunately, Colliford Cycles Seaton were due to sponsor a very popular race in the southwest here, being the Seaton Crit Series early July, but obviously due to recent events of the COVID-19, that's been cancelled. But it's great to see them getting involved and still supporting the southwest region by sponsoring this series put on for the girls and guys here. But as you can see now,
Absolutely.
we are going up the climb for the first time. Blake Pond on the front here, 411 watts, pushing 430 watts, 169 beats per minute. So definitely already in that pacing strategy, and it'll be interesting to see who is going to attack here. Now, just like riding a time trial outside, how do you pace it? It's all down to individual. There's no draft benefit on here today to repeat again. So do you push the climbs, or do you save it for the downhill and go and not to lose time when you're going out to the turn and back? Going to be interesting to see how different people play it, Moti.
Absolutely. It'd be interesting to see who tries to smash it up this first climb to try and create a gap and just to make that mental dent in the people who are following, and who paces it up, gets himself comfortable, gets himself up to the top in a nice tempo, turns round, recovers on the descent, and then on the second descent really goes for it. So it'd be interesting to see who goes for a split timing and goes for a quicker second descent, which I think some people will try and do. But Blake certainly is doing very well here in sixth place, pushing it up and a nice little group around him. So that's actually very positive for all of those riders because they've actually got some pacing around them, so it allows them just to tempo it up to the top. I'll be interested to see how these positions change, particularly because we've got a few of the good riders. So we've got Charlie Revel there, a few Ben Miller, who's a very strong rider, and Oscar Hutchins, who won the Alp climb last week. He's just a couple of places ahead of Blake there, so I wonder if Oscar fancies his chances up this hill again this week.
Yeah, and if you remember, like you said, Alid Jones currently on the front here. Alid put in a great time trial performance up the Innsbruck climb. Remember, it was 2 times up Innsbruck climb and taking that victory. So we've already seen what Alid can bring.
Absolutely, we've got the climbers. The climbers are certainly coming out to play today, aren't they? Travis is there as well. Has Travis got his customary hat on? I hope he has, or has he ditched it for this climb? Let's have a look. Travis, where are you? No, good lad, Travis. He's got his cap on. Good man.
If we move across here, we watch Conrad Moss, local tester in the southwest. Velo Power Performance Coaching.
And so when we're looking down the riders, we can actually see there's some. We've actually got a few B riders who are interspacing there. We've got Mr. Leach, Graham Leach, who is in there in amongst the A riders, and he seems to be the highest placed B rider on the road at the moment. And just looking at the results from last season, I can't actually see Graham in the results from last season, so I think he's not one of our boys, but he's certainly flying the flag for the Bees. Let's see who the highest B rider is for these guys here today. Last year it was won by Dan Fleming. Can we see Dan on the road? I know he's signed up, but I can't see him on the road quite yet, so let's have a look for Dan and see where he's doing and see whether he's actually putting himself in a good position to retain his title this season.
Definitely, we will try and bring you as much on every cat as we possibly can, but with the dynamics on Swift for commentating and scaling around, we can only do the same as you by switching around, so we'll definitely try and bring that for you. But we'll just stay on the front at the moment as we got Oscar Hutchins from Team Tour 2000 pushing it on the front just as we go halfway now on this climb for the first time round. 187 beats per minute, illustrated up in the top left hand corner, 390 watts, 87 RPM, so definitely feeling it. And as we continue just to come up and push over the front. So Moti, just for people watching, there's a rider on the front. It's actually a C-Cat rider, but unfortunately doesn't have a lightning bolt beside its numbers in the leaderboard on the right hand side. So just explain for us what that is. Unfortunately today there's going to be absolutely no benefit for Z-Power riders riding on the front, but just explain to us what that is.
So essentially, Zwift takes its power in one of two ways. So the power that Zwift takes allows your avatar to move on the screen. So it'll do one of two ways: either from direct readings that it gets from your trainer, and that could be from multiple trainers that are on the market today. But if you can get hold of one at the moment, good luck, because they're in very short supply with this current lockdown. Or it guesses what you're doing. So this is called Zwift power. Most people who take this training seriously indoors have a smart trainer that sends signals to Zwift to tell it exactly what power you're pushing, and Zwift sends signals back to the trainer to tell it what to do with regards to incline. However, if you have a trainer that doesn't send that detailed information to Zwift, such as a dome trainer, like an old fluid trainer, for instance, what Zwift will try and do is it will try and guess what power you're putting out, normally from a combination of a speed and cadence sensor as well as your physical metrics, and guess what you're actually doing in the game. And then it kind of gives you a falsely inflated power. And what we often see riders such as Pugh there pushing it off the front because Zwift is guessing its power and giving it a little bit more than what they're actually putting out. So very often Zwift power riders can disrupt races. Not so much this one with it being a TT, but when there's a draft, they can really disrupt the race and cause absolute mayhem through the field.
Absolutely. Well, have you got the data there, Moti, for the bees? Can you bring us any of that?
Good evening.
I certainly can. I will get you Paul Brandfield, who was one of the front runners in the bees recently. So Paul is currently lying in 58th position. I can't actually see any of the 3 riders who finished ahead of him in the league last year on the road at the moment. So Paul is currently leading the bees as far as the south West riders go, and he's currently putting out 330 watts with a very comfortable 154 beats per minute, and he's grinding it up there with 79 RPM. He's got a good little group around him, so Paul's in a good position, and just ahead of him by a few places is Ruben Stacey, the 13-year-old guy, and he's actually got a reasonably good time up this climb. Not a little bit faster than me. My best time up this climb is 17 minutes 13, whereas I see yours is 15:25. I did actually manage to find a climb time for you because I know how much you love climbing these hills, Liam. So Paul's doing quite well. So let's see if he manages to work his way through the field and see if he comes out top of the bees at the end of today.
Yeah, and we can see we got a few extra wheelers riders here. There's Charlie. Charlie's currently sat in 29th place. Out the saddle now, grinding away. 67, so definitely feeling the burn. But as we come up to the top, let's try and get up. We've got a few that are just cresting over the top now. As we can see, Aled Jones has just gone up over the top, already on his way down. Still on lap 1. We need to go all the way back to the start time before we come back for the second attempt. But as we can see, Charlie, 183 beats per minute up there, 450 as he's definitely not going to be letting up on a downhill. So the riders on their smart bikes, or even if they're on a dumb trainer with a power meter, they definitely will be feeling the relief of going downhill just like they would be on outside. But Aled is definitely choosing not to rest up or going into super tuck. Someone may choose to go into super tuck, but as we can see, Charlie is carrying on, and Aled is carrying on 800 watts now out the saddle as he pushes down here. We got some comments coming in cheering on for North Devon Wheelers and Team Tour, so feel free to get involved with the stream. You can message us on YouTube, Twitch or Facebook, and as you can see, as we descend down here, we can see all these riders coming up, and most of them are from the southwest as well, Moti. So great to see so many riders coming out here today.
Yeah, it's great representation. That's a really good climb time by Aled there. Under 15 minutes is a good time for a first climb up, considering that he's going to be doing this again in a few minutes' time. And Oscar only a second behind him as well. And I think in third place is another Tour Carlos rider. I can't quite see who that is at the moment, but they're 3 good times. So these are reasonable climb times. Blake Plund up there with 15:05. So it'll be interesting to see if they manage to, if they're trying to hit negative split and push up a little bit faster on the second climb. But now is recovery time for these front guys, going into super tuck position there, getting some recovery before they get the flat back to the turnaround point to do it all over again.
Yeah, as we can see, Aled is now, whoever he's listening to our stream, shall we take credit for him listening to us? But as you can see, he's stopped pedaling now, like you would outside. He's got down into super tuck, and he's just drafting away. So he's got down 121 beats per minute now. So he's had some good recovery on that descent. And as you can see, as we flatten out here, we've now got to go all the way back to the roundabout and come back. As we see the riders on the chase behind, we can see Blake Pond here from No Pins chasing at 407 watts, 148 beats per minute with his heart rate fastly climbing. It's great to see all the metrics here, Moti, on Swift. You don't get this outside, so it's great to be able to see it.
Absolutely, it's great for us viewers to be able to kind of see exactly what these riders are putting out, and it gives us a good benchmark to where, you know, yourself as you're a keen rider, where you might be in that benchmark and how you might compete against these guys. You don't really know that until you get on Zwift yourself and you actually start pushing those numbers out yourself to be able to realize exactly how you are. But we can see that, you know, looking at 384 watts, Aled's pushing out there now just on this flat section, so he's certainly not taking it easy going back to the start for the turnaround point, and that's one of the tactics that the lads might use. They may just ease a little bit down this flat bit, get loads of recovery time before turning around and really smashing up the second go. But he's up to 170 beats per minute, still pushing out 372 watts, and that's 4.9 watts per kilogram for Aled. So he's really taking this time seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. We can definitely You can definitely see that here. And then we've got the riders chasing, Blake Pond chasing 17 seconds behind. We've got the live splits here, and 9 seconds behind that we've got Conrad Moss. So Conrad Moss is doing very well. Third place, we'll call it, in out of the Southwest standards. I have been asked by Charlie to ignore the other riders in terms of commentary. So we're looking at Conrad as being third place. And we've got Oscar Hutchins. Oscar's played a fantastic part in Series 1. Team Tour, very dominant, as you said, with Travis Brownlee just behind. Now, Moti, whilst we're going along the flat here, and it's easy for us, not so much easy for them, we did manage to catch up with Charlie just before tonight's race, and Charlie's got a few words for us, just if I can get this to work. So let's see if I can manage to get this to work, and if we can, it'd be good to hear from Charlie.
Indeed.
Good evening. Just a quick update. Wanted to say thank you for attending Series 1 on behalf of the Southwest BC board and the Regional Road Race Work Group for the Southwest. We really appreciate that you've taken the time to turn up to these events, and it's been great to see you all turning up week in, week out. Nearly 300 races in Series 1. Obviously we're now into Series 2. By you turning up, we've been able to do this, and we've been able to put improvements in place as well. So you'll see we now have 5 cracking rounds to race over. We've got control of what races we choose thanks to 3R and the benefits that they provide to us over Zwift. And we've also got a full series prize list. So at the overall, we've got 3 prizes for each category, 15 prizes in total. So you'll be able to pick something up for first, second or third place in A, B, C, D and the women's category as well. So please do give us any feedback on how we can improve these in future. But for the time being, enjoy racing with what we've got. Thanks.
Great to hear from Charlie there. Now, Charlie's the one who's been organising all of this, and it's been a successful Series 1, as we have said, and that's why we are able to put on this Series 2 as well, hosted and presented by Team 3R. We're still watching Alid on the front here, Moti. What's happening behind?
Well, I'm just currently looking at the B category riders, and there's a new rider who I haven't seen in the findings from last season, Mr. Bragg. See, Bragg from Mad Triathlon, he's currently leading the B category, being chased by Paul Bramfield and the Bs. So they're actually on the flat as well. So the B guys, they're not hanging about either. They're certainly cutting through some of these A fellas as well. So there's some strong guys in the B category going to be pushing their way along, and they're putting out 4 watts per kilogram. So they're really pushing on that boundary of A and B. So this could be a really good race all round for all of the cats. I'm going to have a little look around the other cats below that as well. So I'll get back to you with that, Liam.
Yeah, and I can see just behind Bragg we've got Brownfield. Brownfield was a very active racer in Series 1. Good to see he's got his heart rate monitor working today, Moti. Unfortunately, he got kicked out of the last race. We do follow the Swift Power rules on Swift Racing, and certainly in the Southwest Series here. So good to see he's got that working, and wish him all the best. And as we move up, we've got Ruben Stacey, 13 years old, from North Devon Wheelers, riding a very good race here. As you can see, 182 beats per minute, very much holding his own. So well done, Ruben. Great to see you keep coming out and taking part. Lovely purple giant bike there. And as we move back up towards the front of the field, we can see Mr. R. Babbage. So we got the Babbages out. Mr. and Mrs. again, Moti.
Oh, so they're back out after the date night last week. It's good to see them back in after the week off, smashing it up there. I haven't seen Mrs. Babbage yet, but I saw Mr. Babbage as well. Yep.
And it looks like Richard's sporting a lovely virtual beard there, with his Mid-Devon Cycling old school jersey. So interesting choice though. He's chosen to go on a road bike today, Moti, instead of on a time trial bike. But
yeah. I wonder what bike that is, because I can't quite tell what bike that is. But yeah, that's one of the things. It looks like he's on a trek. So it looks like he's on a climbing bike. So I think this is very much playing into the strategy. Are you going to go for a TT bike that is really quick on the flat, really good when there isn't any draft? However, when you start turning the corner and putting up the hill, you will get a significant weight disadvantage, and that will slow you down. However, the lighter bikes such as the Trek there, the Trek Madon, as well as the Specialized Tarmac Pro, which are much lighter bikes, they will give you not quite such a good a fast time on the flat sections, but will take that little bit of weight off when you're going uphill. So I do think it depends on probably the lighter riders may want to go for that lighter bike and really start putting in some attacks up the climb, whereas the bigger, stronger riders may choose to go for a heavier bike and really start smashing it along the flat. And I think that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're on board now with Aled Jones currently leading the race. He's been riding a solid race, always on the front since the start here, 178 beats per minute, so very much in his threshold zone there, 380 watts. It'd be interesting to see if Aled's going to be able to hold this. Remember, we still got more than half the course to go, and in second place, just behind 12 seconds on the split, we got Blake Pond, like I say, very popular Southwest time trialist here, so it's not surprised to see the time trialist doing well on the front, just behind Conrad Moss. So it's what I expected to see, Moti, but going to be cheering them all on for sure. We got Sadie Jones cheering on Aled, so definitely some support there from Aled Jones. Great to see him on the front, but like I say, not surprised to see a great performance going on. But it is quite close. We've got at least 4 riders all within a few seconds here, fighting for second place, and not to say first place. Nothing can be lost on a time trial, Moti. It's not over until they do cross that final line. As cliche as that sounds, you just don't know when someone's going to go pop, and points are up for grabs. But as we can see, we are just coming up for the turn, and Aled's going to get there first.
Absolutely, it will be interesting to see if anybody does pop on that steep section of the climb, and just the engine just blows and they start going backwards at a rate of knots. But they do seem to be pacing it quite well. Aled Jones is consistently pushing out 5+ watts per kilogram, and he is got a 5-second gap now on the chasing rider with Blake, who's doing very well. Oscar, Travis, Ben Miller, they were all names who are pushing the front places last time, or starting the season off again very well by pushing the front places again today.
Yeah, and as you see, we've just gone around the turn, so that's the first time that Aled's going to be able to see his close rivals, and they're definitely going to see him as a carrot. So Aled's got to keep going, keep turning those pedals. Nice to see that he's got a good cadence though. It's not often you see a super high cadence in time trialing. There's a lot of people turn big gears and they have a sort of 80, 70, 80 cadence, but nice to see Aled turning a good steady 93 to 95, so definitely knows what he's doing there. And as we got the riders closing in behind, but again, great to see good competition out here. Nobody's giving up. It's not easy to do a time trial, and certainly not on this course. Now, whilst we're just here in the racings a little bit on the flat still, we'll just have a look at the prizes and see what has been put up for this Series 2. So as you can see, like I say, this is going to be for every category, ladies and gentlemen, so do get involved. All categories, be it you're a 4 watts per kilogram plus A racer, or B, C, D, or the women's only category. But we can see that there's going to be Callas are kindly putting up jerseys for first place, and second place is going to be for lightweight award-winning cheese selection. I fancy the cheese, Moe. If I was racing, I'd be going for second. I want the cheese.
Only if it comes with a nice glass of port, obviously.
Maybe we can see. We can see what we can sort out, Moe. And in third place, it's the Colin Food Cycles and the Filling Station CAF £20 voucher. And these are going to go to all categories, so 5 of each, Moe. So again, much appreciation to all those sponsors. Definitely something more worthy for the riders to ride for. So thank you very much for your generosity there and supporting the Southwest region.
Definitely, it's really good to see that. We're still getting some sponsorship and some interest, even in the virtual side, because I think this is really the virtual racing really has started to take a much more of a hold in this lockdown period, and people are starting to really appreciate the benefits of Zwift racing. And I'm sure a lot of the Southwest riders who previously didn't need to do indoor riding because the beautiful weather that you have down in that region are starting now to appreciate some of the benefits, particularly with the training and how they're improving in the strength by being on the indoor platform. And it's good to see that the sponsors are recognising that as well and getting on board.
Yeah, we have seen a slight change now at the front, Moti. We can see that Conrad Moss has just gone round Blake Pond and put 4 seconds into Blake, so Conrad definitely seems to be turning up the heat, and maybe this is his tactics. Maybe being a slightly heavier rider compared to the climbers, he's now allowed to put out that wattage on the flat here as he's opening a gap to the guys behind him and slowly bringing that gap down into Aled in front of him. Let's just take a little look at Swift Power, and we can just see the quality of the performances. So there we go, got Aled Jones, 5 watts per kilogram on the front, unsurprisingly. Conrad Moss, 5.2 watts per kilogram. Illustrated, you can see all these digits. This is all accessible on swiftpower.com. You can follow this live. You just go to the events list, find the event, and help yourself to look through. Let's just scroll down and we can see all the events here. So if you've got any of the guys who are supporting it here, feel free to get involved, cheer them on, and you can see all their metrics online. So again, this is Swift Power, but great to see this all coming through. And it looks like Emma Cockcroft from Bianchi Demo is on the front for the ladies team. So great to see Emma. She was absolutely fantastic in Series 1, so not surprised to see her dominating again in Series 2. And I tell you what, Moti, a lot of support coming for Aled Jones. So he's obviously done something right. He's got plenty of support. Big shout out to Sadie Jones, Gary Jones. So it looks like he's got the family out. And we've also got Sam Gaskin. So a lot of support there for Aled. And he's doing absolutely fantastic on the front.
He is, but Conrad's closing that gap. So Conrad, I reckon, must be going for this negative split as we were talking about. And maybe Aled is going to have to just up his game a little bit. Or maybe he's just playing the game. Maybe he's trying to suck Conrad in, get him onto his wheel, and then bury him on the climb. Because we know that Aled is a good climber. I don't think I've seen Conrad racing yet. So I'll be really intrigued to see whether he's actually putting this effort in now to close down Aled, put the pressure on, and whether he's going to pass him on the hill. Or whether we're going to see some more tick for tats.
No, I know Conrad really well, and I don't think he'll mind me saying, but he has his suspicions about Swift racing. But time trials are definitely his bread and butter, and with no draft out here today, this is probably wet his lips, and he's definitely out in there. As you can see, Conrad's putting in a fantastic performance out here. So just be interested to see if he can take it all up the climb. But Conrad is definitely a very good time trialist. Does a lot of winning in the Southwest, so great to see him out here on the start sheet, and I hope he carries on.
Yeah, and he's definitely close. That's going to be, visual there now for Conrad. He can just almost smell Alex in front of him. He can smell that cologne just wafting off that bike. And I think Conrad's on that the S-Works Shiv. Is that the Shiv he's on? Which is a fascinating looking bike. It's very strange giant geometrics to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you can see, he is going to very slowly approach Aled and overtake him. But having that the carrot is such a psychological boost. Now, it would be interesting to see. Aled will be able to see that Conrad is right behind him, because Aled will have the same listing on the right-hand side on his screen that we have on our screen and what we can see here. But yeah, that is going to be such a mental boost for Conrad. But let's have a little look and see what the weight difference is, because that's what we have got to have a look at on Swift. Is that on Swift, the watts per kilogram makes all the difference going uphill. Now, as we know, Aled's been out here on the front, and not that there's any benefit today because there is no draft. He's going to have that sort of psychological defeat already of being out the front, and certainly not going to give up. But it'd be interesting to see if he's got another kick for him as we climb, because we are on the approach now to the finish. We are going to go up this climb, and it is going to finish up and over the top.
Well, Aled's a couple of kilos heavier than Conrad. Aled's coming in at 74 kilos. Conrad's at 72. And looking at their metrics there on the Zwift screen, they are literally matched rider for rider. They're both pushing almost 400 watts. They both got the heart rate up around the high 70s. Cadence-wise, they're both at 90 to 100. So we couldn't match these riders any better. See, Conrad's just starting to create a gap there. But I reckon Aled is leaving a little bit in the tank for the climb, because we can all see how well he could climb as he did on Innsbruck. So I don't think that this race is anywhere near over yet, Liam.
No, absolutely not. No, it definitely, and that's the same in time trials. It is a long way to go. But as we can see, Blake Pond holding third here. Absolutely fantastic racing from Blake here to hold out in third. And then just behind that, we got Oscar Hutchins. So definitely the names that we expected at the front, Moti. But it'll be interesting to see who has left a little bit more in the tank and ready to attack up and over the climb. But as you can see from this helicopter shot, just as they come around the final parts of the town before they go up the ascent for the last time.
Well, I can see Oscar's currently just closing down a little bit on Blake. Blake's got a good few kilograms on Oscar. I think he's about 16 kilograms heavier than Oscar, so that's quite a big weight difference. And I think Oscar really fancies his chances to take himself past past Blake, and then take the race up to Aled and to Conrad. Whether he can catch them, I'm not really sure, but it'd be really interesting to see whether he can close that 7 seconds down to Aled at the moment.
Yeah, and let's just take a little quick look and see who we've got back at the who's at the front of the B list. If we can just do that without losing the race. Always a nervy time, Moti, but it looks like we have got a lot of A riders strung out now all over the road.
Absolutely.
Delicately move back to try and find the first Southwest B on the road. It looks like we've got M. Lawrence from Dirt also with Bragg from Mad Triathlon. We've also got Courtney from LCC, Decox, and then we have Paul Bramfield from Bridgewater Cycling Club. So still plenty of A riders and B riders all mixing it up. It's interesting to see them all in similar placings, Moti.
It is, absolutely, yeah. So Chris Bragg is still kind of currently leading the bees from Mad Triathlon. He does seem to have created a little bit of a gap to Paul Bramfield there. But we've got Dan from Mag 7, who's currently lying in second in the B category, with Paul coming up there in third. So Paul was a strong rider last time. Chris and Dan are riders that I haven't seen before. So it'd be good to see some changes in names at the top of the B cat anyway, to see how they're doing. And very interesting bike that Dan's got, and I don't think I've seen that bike in Zwift before, so I'm very intrigued to know what he's riding.
Yeah, but back on the front, Moti, sorry to cut you, but we are now climbing
Right,
up
alright.
the main climb, and we can see that Alid has brought those seconds back down to Conrad on the climb here, and he's putting out slightly more power, 5.9 watts per kilogram versus Conrad's, but Conrad's going to match. So we are going to see a battle up here, and it is going to get very exciting as we ascend this climb for the last time. But we can watch them with a great picture here. We can watch them coming out, and as Charlie said, we are going to exclude all the other riders from this commentary, etc. So we are going to stay on these two riders, being Conrad and Alid at the front. But let's not rule out anyone behind, because we can see Travis now 6 to 6.5 watts per kilogram and closing the gap to Alid.
Oh wow, so we've definitely got a race in our hands. I was just focusing on Charlie Revel there, and Charlie's taking it very easy. He's only at 155 beats per minute along this flat. Charlie's cruising along this flat, ready to smash it up the next time. So I reckon Charlie may start lighting some fireworks himself from 27th position. Whether he'll get in the top 10, I doubt it, but he's certainly taking it nice and easy now. But these guys up front certainly aren't taking it easy. That's for sure.
Travis is still beating away here, and Travis has got your favourite hat on again, Moti. He's supporting it for Series 2. I think it brought him such good luck in Series 1 that he's donned the Sherlock Holmes, and he's bringing it into Series 2.
I think that's his lucky mascot. I think his hat. I think he'd be very hard done to lose that hat now. I think that's Travis's trademark now. I think he's going to keep that, but he's doing well. He's pushing out some watts. He's actually catching Alid, and he's looking at Conrad in the distance there.
And as we can see, just as it steepens, it's gone 8 to 9 to 10%, and Conrad has kicked again. He's found that extra watts, and he's gone up to 5.9 watts per kilogram. Currently pushing out nearly 400 watts, 185 beats per minute. So Conrad's definitely going to be feeling that. I think that's going to be probably a little bit over his threshold, but not expected with us going uphill. But great to see. Now, guys, get your suggestions in and get your who do you think is going to win? Comment on Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube. We want to know, and we'll read them out.
I genuinely couldn't call this one, Liam. I really couldn't call who's gonna take this. To be fair, because I think there's a good 5 riders in there. You've got Conrad, you've got Travis, Alid's in there, Oscar's still there, Blake is still got a chance as well. So you've got 5 riders. So any one of these 5 could take this.
Yeah, absolutely. But we've only got less than half a K to go, Moti. Is it 24 on the nose, or is it just a little bit over on today's race?
Pretty much 24 kilometers on the nose. Might be a little bit over to be fair, but that it's 0.5k all uphill. 16% currently Conrad's on at the moment, so this will be digging in a bit. He's at 187 beats per minute, so this is not going to be pleasant at all.
No, absolutely not. And just to reiterate on those prizes, 5 prizes for each category. So absolutely fantastic. First place and second, and they're going to be done over GC over the 5 events. So not just from one event, it's going to be over the 5 events. There'll be GC points, and there's also going to be team pointings. So you're not on your own. So if you're not going to be the front man all the time, it's good to still get involved, get a good place in, because there is a cumulative team prize on offer as well. So get your club mates involved. We can't race outside due to coronavirus, not until August anyway here in the southwest. So why not race on Swift and support this event? But as we can see here now, we've got a change. Bramley has gone round Alid Jones, putting 3 seconds into him now, and Travis is now knocking on the door of Conrad. This is great to see. Only a few hundred metres to go now, Mary.
This is great racing. So if you look at the first, what you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. The first 5 riders, there's only 10 seconds between them in these first 5, which is astounding. And I don't think I've ever seen such a close rider on this hill before. 10 seconds in between these 5 riders, and they're all pushing out very equivalent looking power profiles. So they're all at the 5.5s up to 6s. And I wonder who's going to actually do this last few hundred meters kick to take it up and really try and finish it off.
Yeah, and you can see we're still going up. It's just flattened out a little bit, just as I was going to say, but we're still definitely going uphill. We can see here going up now in the top right-hand corner, 7-8 watts percent, and you can see Comrade 450 watts, turning a really good cadence as well, 93 RPM. So Travis is still behind, fighting. You can see he wants to come across, not giving up. Let's see, 200 beats per minute, Moti. As you can see, 527 watts, beating like an absolute butterfly.
He is, but he's putting out that little bit more. They keep toing and froing between Conrad and Travis. Neither of them are going to let this go, are they?
We can see the finishing line now, Moti, up on the top right hand corner, up on the thing. So I think Travis has caught that. Maybe Conrad hasn't, but Travis has seen that finishing line. He's found that extra bit to kick. Now, it'd be interesting to see if Conrad's able to see that finishing line as well, or if he's seen that Travis is fighting behind him. But as we can see, Conrad's kicking now, 6.6 watts per kilogram. Putting it out there, you can see his heart rate starting to elevate now, and the finish line is very much coming into contact now. We're only less than 100 metres away, but it's still uphill, so I don't think we're going to be see any sprinting. It's just more going to be sheer guts and determination. As we can see, Conrad's going up to 6.7 watts per kilogram now, 450 watts. We're getting close now, Moti. I don't know. It's definitely going to be between these two, but I don't know who it's going to be.
I think we're going to see orange numbers. I think these two guys know how tight this is going to be. One of them is just going to have to absolutely bury it and to take this. I think one of them is going to go into orange very, very soon to try and get this. Is Travis going to do it?
And Conrad
is Conrad going to hold
500
on?
watts, taking first place, and Travis
Oh,
second.
well done.
Fantastic. And Aled Jones is coming up to finish. Brilliant performance from Aled Jones, though, to hold third. He's been out the front the whole time, so absolutely fantastic racing from Aled there. But a great TT, certainly. But maybe pacing strategy wrong from the others. Be interesting to see. And as we move back now, we got Oscar Hutchins from Team Tour coming over in a very good 4th place. So good time trial from Oscar there. And we've Pond passing now in 5th in just over 40 minutes.
That's really good time. And looking at the climb times, it doesn't look like anybody improved on their first climb time in that top group. So everybody really put the work in that first group to kind of create a little bit of time, and then didn't quite manage to put the same time up the second time up. But it was a really good race right to the finish.
Yeah, we had some absolutely quality racing there. So we'll just take a little look over at Swift Power, just as we see. So we can see there absolutely heroic efforts all the way down through. Just as we move back, we'll try and find the bees that will come over the line. If we just find the room, we'll sit on Paul there. But as we go back to Swift Power, apologies about that. We see
and what's interesting,
finishing there in 39.49, 5.3 watts per kilogram, so great effort. 192 beats was Conrad's maximum, but 20-minute power of 5.6 watts per kilogram, and I'm not surprised with those 2 ascents, but with an NP of 383, so that's an absolutely fantastic race from Conrad, and I know that he'll be very happy to take the win there.
And what's interesting is we're
sitting in 2nd and Oscar in 3rd.
And sorry, I was going to say there, Liam, I was just kind of tracking back to the Bs. And what we can see is that there's actually been a change of the lead in the B riders. So Chris Bragg, who was from Mad Triathlon, who was currently leading the B riders, is now being passed. And he's being passed by Pete Hicks of LCC, who's kind of, I don't know, Pete's dropped back again. So to and fro between Chris Bragg and Pete Hicks. But our Courtney is actually currently leading the B riders. So our Courtney's actually caught up Chris and caught up Paul and gone past him, and he's now got a 3-second lead in these B riders. Oh no, I tell a lie. It's Dan Kay is currently leading it now. Dan Kay is taking the front. So even the B riders, they still got their little race amongst themselves, and there's only a few seconds separating the B riders from the group. So there's currently 11 seconds between the top 4 B riders in this category. So this again is going to be another great close finish.
T Gay from Team Mag 7, and they definitely are They definitely are racing in what we're classed in the Southwest region. So is that who we're calling it as first? So let's follow DK as he goes up over the hill. A little bit way out, yeah. He's still got a little way to go. So but we will stay on him. But riding a good ride, 4.4 watts per kilograms all the way up here. So great performance from DK from Mag 7.
On that sexy looking TT bike as well, I'm still determined to find out what that is. I'll have to find that in the drop shop to find out what he's riding, because I do like the look of that orange bike. It would match my orange headband absolutely beautifully.
We've just seen that. It's a Cervelo, but I'm not sure. It's not the P5, so I'm not sure. It must be the cheaper one, Moti. Obviously DK hasn't done enough riding yet to warrant purchasing the P5, because that's definitely what I would be riding today. I think I'd be riding the P5 with the 454s, I think.
With the 450, you see, I would go for the Milan stands. I think I would go for the heavy bike and the lightweight wheels, just to mix it up a little bit. Not that it would make any difference, but I'm determined to try and get under 17 minutes, I must admit. So that's definitely my next goal.
You're on that scale. But the thing to think about, mate, is there's such a downhill and then the flat section that it will make the difference to have those aero wheels on that rather than just the two uphill climbs.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, how you play these tactics on these rides, what you go for, and you're never really sure what to do, to be fair, a lot of the time. I think there's a lot of guesswork, but nowadays a lot of these riders now, and this is fair play to Best Bike Split. So Best Bike Split is a very well renowned program for TT riders to kind of be able to plan their time. And most of the courses on Zwift now have a Best Bike Split profile, so you can actually put in your own figures into the online interface for Best Bike Split and get a rough idea about what your climb time or what your whole ride time is going to be, which is a really interesting thing to do if you haven't already done it.
I haven't. No, I don't use that on the. Does it work on Swift as well then?
Well, I don't know if it works on Zwift. I think it works on Zwift, yeah, but I think it calculates what your time is according to your Zwift profile as well. So it's part of the Zwift Insider, one of the things that Zwift Insider has set up, and it's a fascinating look into what you might think. It always massively overestimates my ability, to be fair.
Believe in yourself, Moti. Believe in yourself. And as you can see, DK now coming up towards the finishing line. Great race from DK. Let's have a little look. You can see what his average watts have been today, Moti.
It's average watts. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see if I can find the
I've done it. I'm ahead of you. So Dan, we've got his name. It's Dan. I wish they'd use their real names in game. Dan, and 4.1 watts per kilogram, so just a little bit over, but I think he'll be allowed with that, with it being a time trial. And as we can see, he's coming up over the top to take the W for the B category. So well done to Dan K there for Team Mag 7. And
yeah, that is a good win.
Line. That's about it from us, Moti. So thanks for joining us out here today on the return of Series 2 of the British Cycling Southwest Series, and we'll see you the same time next week. So next Wednesday, 6:30. See you then. Thanks for joining us, mate.
What have you got next week, Liam? What's in for the excitement next week?
You've caught me out, mate. You haven't got me notes.
Oh, well, whatever it'll be, it will be exciting. I can guarantee that, because every race that we've had so far has been really good viewing.
It will be exciting, mate, because I put all the races together, so it's my fault if nobody likes it. But thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers, guys. Have a good week.